Hi, my name is Delaney Ball, and today we will be replacing the motor on the Razor E100 electric scooter. This is a relatively easy process. From start to finish, it should take about 15 minutes. For this process, you will need 3 tools. The first is a Phillips screwdriver. The second is a small pick. The last tool you will need is an 8mm open-end wrench. This process can be completed in 4 easy steps. Step 1, disconnecting the motor. Step 2, removing the motor. Step 3, installing the new motor. And Step 4, connecting the new motor. Now let's get started on Step 1, disconnecting the motor. There are 6 screws on the deck lid. The 2 on the back have nuts. Using your Phillips screwdriver, unscrew all 6 of the screws. Make sure to keep them together in a little pile so that they don't get lost. Now use your 8mm open-end wrench to secure the nut on the bottom while you unscrew the screw on the top. Now that we've unscrewed all of the screws, you're going to take the deck lid and lift it off the deck. The motor wires are coming from the back of the battery box. Simply trace the wires up until you get to the plug and then pinch to separate. Now that the plug is separated, you're going to be using the small pick to de-pin the plug. Press down on the tab while pulling the wire at the same time. Now you're going to do the same thing but for the other wire. That concludes Step 1, disconnecting the motor. Now on to Step 2, removing the motor. First, you're going to remove the chain guard. To do so, use your Phillips screwdriver and remove the 2 black bolts holding it together. Once the 2 screws are removed from the chain guard, simply pull it down to fully remove it off the scooter. Next, find the 3 screws that are securing the motor. Use your Phillips screwdriver and unscrew them. Be careful not to lose the small washers that are at the end of the screw. Once the screws are removed, pull the motor back towards you and remove the chain. Now that we've removed the chain, let's take out the grommet. Simply use one finger to pry out the grommet. At the back of the battery box, you will find a small hole. Simply pull the motor wires through the small hole. Once the wires are removed, take the grommet and slide it off the end of the wires. That concludes Step 2, removing the motor. Now on to Step 3, installing your new motor. Now that you have your new motor, take the grommet and feed the wires through it. Now you're going to feed the wires through the hole in the back of the battery box. It's a very tight squeeze in the back of the battery box, so make sure you take your time with this step. Next, reinstall the grommet by pressing it into the hole. Now that the grommet is back into place, let's reinstall the chain. To do so, you are going to wrap the chain around the sprocket and then push the motor back into place. Use a Phillips screwdriver to reinstall the 3 screws. Keep in mind, the hole on the left is beveled, so that one requires a flat screw. Next, take the chain guard and slide it onto the scooter. Be sure to line up the 2 holes on the chain guard to the holes on the frame. Using your Phillips screwdriver, reinstall the 2 screws. That concludes Step 3, installing the new motor. Now on to Step 4, connecting the motor. Now let's start reinstalling the plug. Start by feeding the red wire through the bigger side of the plug, making sure the tab is facing down. Once you hear a click, you should be all good to go. Feed the black wire into the small part of the plug. Make sure the tab is facing towards the right. Press until you hear a click. Give the wire a little tug to make sure that it is secure. Now let's reconnect the motor. Simply press the plugs together until you hear a click. Now tuck the motor wires back into the battery box. Now let's reinstall the deck lid. Place the lid on top of the frame, making sure to line up the holes. Using your Phillips screwdriver, reinstall the 6 screws. Don't forget, the two at the back have a nut securing them. Using your 8mm open-end wrench, hold the nut, then use the screwdriver to tighten it completely while holding from the bottom. That concludes step 4 and the process of replacing the motor on the Razor E100 electric scooter. I hope you found this video helpful and informative, but if you are still having troubles, feel free to contact customer support at razor.com. Once again, I'm Delaney Ball, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through this process. See you next time.